How's everyone doing tonight? My name's Christian Karasevich.
Doing well, doing well.
Hey
Hi,
there, Christian.
Welcome to Jennifer Watson, our guest tonight. Christian, I am seeing a black screen on Facebook Live, just a heads up. Is that what I'm supposed to be seeing at this moment?
No, you actually should be seeing
I see you
yourself.
now. Yeah. Okay, and let me bring Kelly Kavanaugh in. She said she couldn't find us. Hi, Kelly. Welcome. Thank you for. It looks like you found us even without my assistance. Good show tonight. We have a wide variety of topics for you. Again, I'm Nick Rishwain, here with Christian Karasevich, and our guest tonight. We were kind of driving Christian bonkers a few minutes ago because we really got into already talking about the heat and the weather and things like that. While Christian was, who is the technical editor for the show, was really trying to get things set up. So thank you, Christian, for your patience. Our guest, as I mentioned, is Jennifer Watson from the Weather Channel. Our first weather-related guest. She is a meteorologist for the Weather Channel, and she's also a social media specialist for them. And she is located in Georgia and is experiencing some pretty wild weather tonight. So she is monitoring that while we're doing the show. So, Jennifer, thank you. Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Yeah, it's been a kind of a wild, busy day. We've got a lot of action, especially in the plains, a few storms popping up in the southeast, and they've actually had some good storms in the northeast. Right around Syracuse got hit a few hours ago, too. So, I mean, there's action everywhere tonight, of course, so it's fun.
It's good. And I was really, the thing that was, and I do this with so many guests, and I apologize, Christian, but I really like knowing about our guests. Like I get energy from that and hearing about it. And the thing that I think is really cool is you are both a meteorologist and one of the social media specialists. And I think that's important. Being in the legal community, I know that what I put out has to be stated in a certain way. And it sounds very similar in your profession. And you need that meteorology background in order to do the social media for the Weather Channel.
No, it's very true. It can be tricky sometimes because we have a handful of meteorologists that push out content, weather content, on the Weather Channel's social channels, but we also have other people that help do that as well. But we kind of have a check and balance. If they have anything weather-related, in an article, or they want to push out some message on a social media platform, a meteorologist will actually review that and just make sure they're using the proper terminology, because the last thing we want to do is to give someone wrong information and they make a decision based on that information. And as you know, legally, that could lead to something bad. So,
right. And it's not like meteorologists have not had a hard enough time pleasing people when they don't get something right. I mean, that would probably be the flip side of that coin. You guys are always having difficulties because nobody's ever quite happy with the weather news that you've given them.
Oh my God, you nailed it, Nick. It's so crazy because a lot of people think what we do is just, guessing or, oh, you guys have such an easy job, but it's amazing how many computer models we actually look at and analyze. And it can be a lot to make a forecast. And it's very difficult sometimes when models just don't align with each other. And, it's a tricky thing to do, and it takes a lot of work, a lot of knowledge. I went through a lot of school. I have a master's degree. We have amazing people at the Weather Channel, and all meteorologists do this, So it's hard work, and people think, they look out the window and they just, they just say what they see, but that's not the case at all. We are in there. Like this morning, our meeting, was intense because there's a big severe weather threat, and there are constant meetings throughout the day just making sure our forecasts are accurate and everything. So
very cool. Yeah. And with that, we're going to jump in. We don't have any specific weather apps unless Christian has that for us in the tools tonight, and I'll let him get to that. But what we do have as our first story tonight is introducing face filters and more on Instagram. This comes from the Instagram blog. And for those who haven't been following the show religiously, first of all, you should be. Second of all, this is an ongoing battle between Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. And this blog post came out May 15th. And today we're introducing face filters in the camera, an easy way to turn an ordinary selfie into something fun and entertaining. So you can have, for those who are familiar with the filters and the lenses and such in Snapchat, this is very similar. From the crown on the top, you could have furry koala ears that move and twitch when you talk. You can put a filter on somebody's face using the front-facing or rear-facing camera, and you can tap a filter to try it on. Keep an eye out for ones that work with a friend. You can take a photo or video using, I mentioned that, the front or back-facing camera, and they even work with boomerang. So this seems to be just one more level of competition for Snapchat, and they're, in the ongoing battle between Facebook and Snapchat. Jen, what are your thoughts about the new additions to Instagram? Are you a face filter person on Snapchat? Are you a Snapchat user? Are you an Instagram user? Which one do you prefer? And is this something you'll use?
Well, you know what's interesting? This is making me fall in love with Instagram even more. Just because I feel like, out of Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram, I feel like Instagram is the perfect blend of everything. Sometimes, I don't know, Instagram was fun. It was just photos. And it still is. And the feed, and just, it's something I kind of like to use personally over Facebook, just for my own keeping up with friends and family and everything like that. But now with this, it makes it more fun. You've got the stories, you can go live, it's just, they're adding everything. It's the best of, I think, Facebook and Snapchat in Instagram, and it's turning into my favorite, honestly. I absolutely love it. And I think it's, kind of a big deal for brands and companies as well, because it's, based on what does well for your company, or, what platform. I mean, Instagram is combining everything together perfectly. And I think that's something that every brand needs, or company needs to be on for sure, and start utilizing everything. Snapchat, though, is amazing, and we're about to get to that too. With what they're coming out with, which that's pretty cool. But I feel like overall, as a big package with everything, Instagram is just, they keep on adding more and more things that the younger generation loves, the older, generation love too. So it's one of those things that I feel like, in my mind, and personally for my use, I like Instagram more. It's kind of reached the top. It was Facebook, but now I'm Instagram.
Interesting. Excellent. Okay. And I have to agree with you that I think they're doing even though they're stealing or borrowing rather a lot of concepts from Snapchat, they are that in between where both older users and younger users are on it. And Snapchat seems to be, by and large, still has the younger demographic. So this is sort of a bridge between the platforms. Christian, what do you think?
So overall, by the way,
and I should say that for those watching and listening, it looks like Christian had a issue with his video. So, but we can still hear him.
So overall, I think that. I gotta say, at first when I read about this, I was like, "Oh, face filters, big deal." They're borrowing this from Snapchat, or borrowing, stealing, whatever you want to call it. Repurposing, I guess. So I think, in that sense, I was like, "Oh, great, face filters. How can a business use this?" I love the fact that they're starting to get into the whole AI side of things with, and making, everything really tied into your movements, just making, making these virtual worlds essentially, where anybody can just kind of put this over their face. But I think, to me, what is probably the more interesting feature announced this week, not just the face filters, but they also released a creative tool called Rewind. So Rewind is, I had so many people, they asked, they're like, hey, how do I do a backwards video? And that's one really great thing about Rewind. It lets people who aren't really into video but want to do really cool things be able to tap into, these powerful tools. So they have Rewind, and they also have hashtag stickers, which I think to me is probably like the big topic for a business who is going to be doing anything on Instagram. Sorry, my bad. I almost said Snapchat there.
And are those hashtag filters, are those searchable hashtags?
I don't believe they're
that was not clear to me.
I'm not sure if they actually were searchable, but they were basically a way for people to be able to attach a hashtag over top of their content. I'd still say if somebody's going to use a hashtag, apply it as a sticker, and then also consider putting it in your post update. That way it is searchable.
Yeah. No, but I agree with you, Christian. The whole Rewind thing I actually think is really cool. I completely forgot to mention that. That's one of the things that I think is really unique about it. And the hashtag sticker, too, is huge, I think, for businesses. So I just, and like you said, too, Nick, it's interesting because when I talk to like high schoolers and some fellow coworkers in their low 20s, they love Snapchat. Like they're just all over it. Like they start snapping in like middle school or even, elementary school. So but adding that feature to Instagram, which, kind of the older generations are on too, is just perfect. It's blending together everything. And that's why I think it's just, Instagram's being very smart right now. So
yeah, agreed. And let's move on to topic 2, which I think this is fascinating. And Christian, I got to tell you, Pinterest using image recognition to target ads, including in lens results, has really got me thinking, and I'm not sure that I have any use for Pinterest, but it's really got me thinking about returning to it for the sole purpose of playing with their image recognition. So what we have here, topic 2, Pinterest will use image recognition to target ads. It's going to parse the objects in an image to include ads in galleries of related pins. This is the first iteration of this, as I understand it. So to target ads, and this comes from Marketing Land, and it came out May 16th. To target ads, Google uses search data, Amazon uses purchase data, and Facebook uses social data. So now Pinterest is using photo data. Last year, Pinterest started using image recognition technology to suggest related pins so that people could tap an object in a photo and see a list of organic pins featuring similar objects. Now, the social/search platform will start including in those results ads that are selected based on the characteristics picked out by Pinterest's computer vision, the company announced Tuesday. So let me break this down a little bit more in the article because it is hard to picture. When a potential customer spots a table that they like, that likes the looks of on Pinterest, visual discovery helps them recognize the style, textures, and shapes that make it unique. So they could identify it as rectangular, mid-century modern, dining table, and then they can show similar projects that match the look and feel. This is according to one of their own blog posts. So what they'll do then is they will give you some related pins in a gallery that's displayed after tapping on an individual pin. And among the instant idea pins that pop up after tapping on a pin in a person's home feed. So I'm not sure I was clear on that. So the related pins will come up. It's not that the ads are going to be instantly available. It will show up in potentially related pins. But I think what they're going to do, Pinterest plans to eventually add them to the results displayed when people use their lens feature to scan a photo from their phone or find related pins, as well as shop the look feature that lets people tap product features in a photo to reveal a list of links to similar products available for purchase. So that was really wordy. Jen, What are your thoughts on this?
I love it.
Excuse me. I think it's awesome.
I think this is fantastic. Now, we don't have as large of a presence on Pinterest, the Weather Channel, as other companies do, but if you're selling furniture or other products, I think this is huge. Like, I love Pinterest just because I go on there because I want to learn how to do something, make something, recipes, that sort of a thing. But for companies and being able to utilize that feature where it actually can pick out specific details of something that you like is amazing, and put it in there, just lay it out there for you. And I think with businesses taking advantage of that, I mean, that could increase sales, everything that you could imagine. And so, like, Pinterest, it's funny, since, kind of in the weather world, there's some pin boards with, like, different kind of crafts you can do with kids and stuff like that. But for shopping and everything else, this is so exciting. I think that I really think companies will jump on it because it's kind of similar to YouTube, because people go on YouTube to be like, how do I do this? And right. Pinterest is basically kind of a similar sort of thing, And
sort of a do-it-yourself. It's sort of a do-it-yourself shopping by locating the item that you want, and then being directed to an image or somebody who's selling that similar item.
And the thing is, I'm excited for that as a customer, because there's I like unique things with a lot of character, and a lot of times I'll be like, oh my gosh, where is this available, or can I find it somewhere cheaper? And so if I can utilize that for that reason, and it pops up, a whole different amount of links where I can find it, I think that's huge. I think that's really huge.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, and this is interesting from our Facebook feed, we have two of our people who are here, Kelly Kavanaugh and Ari H. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Ari. But they both say that Pinterest has been their biggest social referral platform. So that's interesting to me as a not a very common user of the platform. And I do want to ask people. I want to thank people for being here. Ari, Kelly, Nats, thank you for being here. If you would please share out the episode, we'd really appreciate it. Christian, what are your thoughts on this image recognition by Pinterest Lens?
I am really excited about this, and I'm going to kind of play off of what Jen said here. So I love the fact that you can, if you want to buy something, or you want to figure out, well, who makes that, what's the product, educating people, even just educating people on whatever the item is they're scanning. I love the fact that it is going to automatically recognize, different characteristics about it, not just telling me, hey, here's where to go buy it, but for example, if you've ever seen, like, let's use clothing. You've seen somebody's clothing, right? Now, granted, the social aspect would be, hey, I could go up to them and say, hey, who makes that? I really like your shoes, or I like your jacket, or I like your pants. Who makes those? I could go up to somebody and strike up a conversation. That's the social aspect. But a lot of times, sometimes you want to just find this out and you don't really have the chance to go talk to somebody. You could easily snap a picture of something. And, instead of just returning, like, hey, here's all these, like, stores, and then you have to go through every store to find out, hey, it's sold out and that sort of stuff. I like the fact that you can scan something and actually find out more about that particular item versus having to spend hours potentially researching something.
I agree.
I agree. I think this is really going to be very, as we talked with Ross Quintana a couple of weeks ago, I think this leads to some really very targeted advertising, but advertising that I want to see because it's relevant to me.
Exactly. I don't think you could have said that any more perfect, Nick. It's exciting for the consumer, just as it is for other companies, too. It brings, if I want something unique that's made of, like, oak, cherry oak, or whatever wood, that sort of thing, it brings the two together. It marries it perfectly and helps you find each other. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is big, and we've seen in a previous episode we've also discussed Google working on their own image recognition software as well. So this is the new one of the many new forefronts that we're going to be seeing in search capabilities. Our next item up, and this is from a couple of weeks ago, and I feel like we may have touched on this. This article specifically is a couple of weeks old. But I think we touched on this, at least in part, in last week's show, Christian, the new premium video content coming to Twitter. Does it sound like maybe we touched on it in a previous blog post rather than on the show?
We touched on some of it. We touched on the fact that, they were going to potentially get into some live programming. But I think the other thing that we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. I would actually say the way that we could preface this is Twitter is going to be coming out with premium video content. This is also something that Facebook is also trying to get into. They're trying to do, Facebook TV shows. I think we touched on that. Was that last week? I think, Nick.
Last week, I believe we covered that. Yeah.
It's so funny. Like literally within like a couple of weeks, all these like sites are like, "Hey, let's jump on the bandwagon. Let's do TV now." And like all of a sudden, everybody's doing TV.
And from what I've seen, and you probably watched it as well, the Twitter stock price has been rising. I think these deals helped in that.
So these deals helped, but there's also one other piece of social media news this week that I think actually, it's not in our list, but I think it's kind of important to cover, not just the fact that Twitter coming out with premium content. It's the fact that Biz Stone, a previous co-founder, is returning to Twitter.
Correct.
It's true.
That's right. So they've had after quite a long roll of bad news in difficult times. They've had some pretty positive news recently, including in this post that they're thrilled to announce 16 live streaming content deals across 4 different areas, which or I believe 3 or 4 areas: sports, news, and entertainment. Which will bring hundreds of hours of new premium video content to Twitter. And now, will Weather Channel be participating? Now, you mentioned when we were, they're not the one of the brands who are mentioned in this particular article, but you did mention that you were following a lot of what's occurring in the weather through Twitter right now. Do you think that this is something you guys may get involved in, or am I asking a question that's maybe outside of your knowledge in your role there?
Well, personally, I love this whole premium video just because I cut the cord about 2 months ago, and so this is huge. I think for everyone, needs to be having the premium video, which I'm glad Twitter has. Yes. And I think this would be, it's a very interesting opportunity for a weather company. So I'm not going to speak on anything
sure.
Exactly, but I love it, and I love it for the fact that I have Netflix myself, subscription and everything like that. But just for those that cut the cord or you're on the go, it's just perfect. It makes sense for, all of those, Cheddar, Bloomberg, ESPN, the NBA. I mean, it's just because I watch some of the political stuff on Twitter too.
Yep.
Because my husband likes to be in a band, or he is in a band, and have practice at our house. So I was upstairs on my laptop literally watching stuff live through Twitter, which was so cool. So I really think this is huge.
I like this a lot, and I think one thing that we maybe forgot to, or we touched on it at some point, Christian, a couple of weeks ago. Sort of the first big announcement for them was a 24-hour streaming with Bloomberg. And that was kind of the first, and then they followed, I think, later in that week with this 16 other deals that they had inked. So, and I'm really interested as somebody who likes CNBC for both financial and regular news during the day, but I don't get to watch it all that often because I don't have the TV in the office. I'm really excited. I liked when they rolled out the Cheddar pieces, the Cheddar Financial News pieces, and I'm excited for Bloomberg's 24-hour streaming on Twitter, because I usually have Twitter up all day, every day.
Same here.
Yeah. Christian, what are your thoughts?
I really, I think the fact that, you've got, you're able to tap in all this programming. I think that, it's one, immediately actually the one thing that went off in my head was just the cost for a network to be able to run something like this. I love the fact that they're going to be doing this. But, I do wonder, okay, how are they going to transition this? Because I think on one hand, a lot of us, we're trying to cut the cord on things, but you have all these networks that still want you to pay for service. And so I'm still wondering, well, hey, how are we going to make this more friendly for the consumer, the viewer? Because that's really the name of the game. They have to have people viewing it in order to, to see that it's worthwhile. So.
Correct. I absolutely agree with that. And as an avid Twitter user, and I'm excited for. I'm hoping for a big comeback, and I'd like to see some user growth. And we're getting our friend Jessica Phillips in the chat. Thank you for joining, Jessica. And she said, "Hey Nick, hey Christian, you guys rock, and we appreciate your support, Jessica."
Thanks, Jessica.
And it looks like she also said hello to Jennifer.
Yes.
Hey there. Hey, Jessica.
So, perfect timing for us to roll into our fourth story, and that is the competition goes on. This came from TechCrunch, posted May 15th, and it says Snapchat rolls out a trio of new ad products using its lenses and geo filters. So, in an effort to further differentiate itself from rival Facebook, Snapchat expanded its ad offerings lineup with 3 new products that take advantage of its already popular lenses and geo filters. The company is debuting a handful of new products, including world lenses, audience lenses, and smart geo filters, representing its largest update to its sponsored creative tools since October 2015. They say that over 1 in 3 daily users play with lenses every day on average. So 33% of their daily active users are playing with these lenses, and Snap Geo filters are viewed over 1 billion times a day on average. Those are some pretty good numbers to create a new advertising tools with. So these world lenses are an extension on their sponsored lenses, which already let advertisers turn users' selfies into ads. With the sponsored world lenses, advertisers can also create content for the rest of the photo beyond the face, including floating 2D or 3D objects, interactive content, and other items. This one was essentially, I've seen not their first example. Their first example came out. The Everything movie, I think, is coming out soon in theaters Friday. I think it's coming out tomorrow. And this is the filter that I saw floating around and people using quite a bit of World Lens this last week. So they are already using it. Looks like Netflix is using it as for an upcoming show called Glow. So what are our thoughts on this? There are a couple of other items besides the World Lens. There's the Audience Lens and the Smart Geo, what was that one called?
It's a Smart Geo Filter.
Yeah, so let's cover the World Lens first. What are everybody's thoughts on this? Jennifer, let's start with you.
I like the World Lens. I just feel like it allows you to immerse yourself in a brand, in a concept, in whatever you want, your fans and followers to be, it could be a local zoo where you can pop up the 3D objects and have like a zebra, a giraffe, it's just completely a way to allow, people to have fun with your brand, play around, be goofy. I really love it. So I know there's a competition going on right now, but this is still really cool that if I were, younger and, grew up with Snapchat, I think I would be like, this is awesome, not Instagram, Snapchat still, I just feel like the younger generation is just all about Snapchat, and they're rolling these things out, and I think it's fantastic. So I really like it for immersing yourself completely in the brand and allowing, with the different objects and different things you can do, just, playing around with it and having fun. And I think it's a fun play on things. So.
It is. Christian, what are your thoughts on this? Because I think the audience lenses, I think, is probably their more important play here. But what are your thoughts on the world lens?
So I think overall, like when we started talking about Instagram at the beginning, when I was doing, putting all this content together for everybody, I really like what Snapchat is doing here. I have to say, they're doing some really creative stuff. I think that, world lenses, for instance, I like the fact that, like, this can take, an environment where it can, barely recognize, the edges of things. And now you as a user or a business owner can add 2D or 3D objects to these worlds, like to make them just, beyond, hey, how do I put a filter over my face? Like, I like the fact that this really makes it, really neat for a business owner. I think that, if I'm a business owner, for instance, what I could conceivably do is I could hide things within that world. So, it's not just like, hey, here's my, filter with, the puppy dog or the crying eyes or whatever. But I could make it more about my business. Like, I could showcase certain items, for instance. And granted, these are a little more creative, but, you can get into doing some really great things, I think, with these world lenses.
I agree. And I think what may even be more important to the smaller brand or smaller businesses is the next item that was included here, which are audience lenses, which will allow advertisers to buy regionally targeted lenses for the first time. So it used to be that before advertisements could only be bought as nationwide takeovers. So that's why you saw the big brands doing it. Mm-hmm. But you could do geo filters for, certain locations for a certain specified time. But this is really cool, which allows an advertiser to buy regionally targeted lenses. I like that. And, the first thing that came to mind for me here was a regional bank. There's a lot of regional banks out there. They may, we just need from Fresno to Sacramento if we're talking in California. Mm-hmm. Well, what if we bought regionally targeted lenses for that time? Banks probably don't look for the demographic that would appreciate this necessarily, but if they're looking to grow the millennial generation, this might be one of those ways to do it. Also, regional restaurants could have some fun with this.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this bank thing real quick, Nick. Do you think that, if I were a bank, like, what are some things I could do? Maybe, could I offer maybe a higher interest rate to people that are, potentially using the Snapchat, using Snapchat, for instance, and connecting with the bank? Or would I use it maybe from an educational purpose? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking brand awareness right off the bat. I find it very hard to believe that a bank's going to offer a higher interest rate, at least right now, given interest rates. So I would think it's more of a brand awareness, show that they're a fun brand, show that they're, hip, or, by the way, by me using the word hip, it already shows that I'm out of the age that this would probably apply to. But I think brand awareness, I think possibly also, if you had some introductory offer for those who open accounts, you might use it in that sense. Jennifer, what are your thoughts on this?
By the way, Nick, that's a really good point. If you're targeting somebody that is brand new to a bank, that would actually be really neat to be able to tap into last week's topic, which was Snapchat ads, their ads manager, to be able to know, is somebody potentially a new customer with me? If they are, let me roll this out to them without having to actually know that, to ask them to fill out a survey or something to that effect.
Right. Jennifer, what are your thoughts on the audience lenses?
And it's funny, I love that you brought that up because I was going to mention it earlier. I love that you can regionally target. I think that's huge because I think that held a lot of companies and brands back. And even if you are a national brand or a national company, let's say you're a clothing company, and the weather varies across the entire country. So, I mean, you could, create a specific filter or something for the Northeast where it's cold, something in the Southeast. I mean, if there's something going on, a big event, a music event or something, that you just want to target that, you can do that. So I feel like for regional companies, this is huge, but also for, national companies, it's still just as a big deal because, I mean, you can do so many different things, and it alleviates having to be a national takeover. I think it's great.
I agree, and I think the Weather Channel could use this. Storm warning, tornado warning, or that kind of thing. You guys might be able to use that. Look, it's only specific. You said earlier before we got started that Oklahoma and Texas and parts of Kansas were dealing with. There may be a time for a regional takeover there.
Yeah, and we've brainstormed different kinds of things like this too. So it's just the fact that they allow you to regionally target, like it is just such a big deal for us and for, I think, every company. That's probably one of the bigger highlights, as well as I think there's even shorter times now for the sponsored ones as well. Instead of like 6 weeks, it's 8 weeks, or instead of 8 weeks, it's 6 weeks, which is huge. Yeah,
that's cool. So I'm going to skip the third part of that because we are running into our time. The third part of that was smart geofilters. Go take a look at it. We've posted the link. We'll post it in the blog as well. But I do want to move on. This is kind of a big item for today. It goes right along with the ads, and this, I think, is really important. So let's move over to Marketing Land. This article is about Facebook, came out May 8th, and this is really cool. Facebook lead ads just got a whole lot more useful with offline conversion data. So Facebook lead ads just, a whole lot more accountable by enabling campaign integrations with offline systems such as your customer relations management or your point of sales or your call centers. So they've launched a new offline conversion solution on the 8th, or on Monday, on the Monday this article was written, to automatically connect with CRMs and other systems to upload the outcome of leads generated by Facebook campaigns into their ads manager. So advertisers will be able to track conversion activity through the sales cycle and map it back to specific campaigns and lead ads. In addition to being able to optimize existing campaigns based on offline performance data, advertisers can also create lookalike audience of lead ad segments using custom audiences, retarget lead customers with upsells or new products, or sequence ads based on where users are in the funnel.
I love this.
I think it's great. So my first question was, how do we connect it to my day job? And I see that they do have the offline conversion solution for Salesforce and Marketo. You can use the Upload Offline Events Manager for Salesforce and Marketo. You can use LeadsBridge to connect to dozens of CRMs integrated with that service. Use Zapier to connect to more than 800 apps, including email services and other tools, or build into Facebook's offline conversion API. Jennifer, tell me what you think.
It's phenomenal for just anybody running the ads, the campaigns, doing the analytics. I mean, it's a faster, easier way to understand what's working and what's not working, so you can better respond, optimize on campaigns that are still running. I mean, it's so much faster and connected instead of separated. And I just think for every company, it's going to help them. I mean, it has to. And I know I don't deal a lot with the analytics and the ads per se, but I know my coworkers do, and I hear them talk. And this, I know they're very excited about, because it connects everything. It makes it a lot easier, and it's faster to know, okay, what works, what doesn't work. And so you can continue to push out, better ads that lead to more referrals. I mean, it's just, it'll just increase business and, revenue. It just all trickles down the line. So it's
agreed.
Good.
Yeah, this is great for anybody who is doing Facebook ads and needing that data and being able to tie it back to which campaign, where in the sales cycle this person came in, where in the funnel they are. Christian, what are your thoughts?
I love this. I will say, you hit the nail on the head. Like, they know exactly where they're at in the sales funnel. Now, it's not just, this is not just a technique to hey, it's going to increase sales. You still have to have campaigns set up. So if I'm, a very large business, B2B, B2C, and I've got my social presence already established, I already know I'm working with campaigns. If I'm a small business, mom and pop business, I really need to get that funnel set up, and I need to get I need a CRM system in place, and I also need to know what that, need to know what the whole process is for my customers. I will say this, having worked for B2B and B2B and B2C space, I think that a lot of times we had to guess on things like, why did this, where did this sale come from? Well, I think it was because I did this. We didn't really know for a fact,
right.
And it didn't matter what type of company you were. I mean, everything was all disjointed. And so with having this process in place now, I think that, it's really going to help. One, it's going to help business owners for sure. You're going to know exactly where people are at in the funnel. If somebody's in the funnel and, hey, somebody abandons it, you can then use that to build a custom audience and retarget that audience based on, where they abandoned in the funnel. Every single step of the funnel can have, a retargeting campaign going after them. I think at the same time, though, this is also going to be good for your marketers. If you're working for a B2B company in the market, as a marketing manager, a lot of times, in order to get dollars, for your department, you're going to have to show ROI. You're going to have to say, hey, this we're driving this. Well, guess what? Now you can do that if you were using these and you're using them properly. So
agreed.
I love the fact that they're doing this.
Christian, do you have something to share before we move on to the tools for tonight?
Sure. Jen, did you have? Were you going to say something, Jen?
No, it helps with everything. I just love it. I mean, it's across the board. You nailed it. Marketing, everything. It's great.
That return on investment is so important. And this just helps an advertiser know where they're spending their marketing dollars.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Love it. Christian.
Okay, so what I actually want to just tell everybody about real quick is we have, let me see if I can get this pulled up. Yes, there we go. So just a quick heads up for everybody that's watching. If you're watching, live with us, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on if you're watching on the blog, but basically you can go to socialchefs.com/social-snacks, and what you can do here is you can actually go and, if you have any questions, it could be a simple question. It might be, hey, I need help with this or I need help with that. Just send us a question, and, when we take these and we'll try to answer, a couple of them on the show. And if we don't get to them, we'll try to put them into a blog post for you so you get your questions answered. Okay.
Yeah, excellent.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
And what do we have for tools today, Christian? Take it up. Take it over.
Let's talk about some tools here. Let me get these pulled up. Okay. So for tools this week, actually, sorry, before we actually get into tools, I did want to mention, Here we go. Okay, so for tools, the first tool we have it's called Everypost for social media scheduling. Here's the thing. You have a lot of different choices when you go to schedule your social media content. I'm sure many of you have a very complicated process for curating content as well. This is, sourcing content from around the web. Many of you probably use, for instance, our process is we use Feedly to bring everything together. We then put it into Pocket if we really like something, and then we put it into a scheduling tool such as a Hootsuite or a Buffer. So with Everypost, what it does is it helps kind of cut down on some of that. It helps you do some of your scheduling from your mobile device. It also offers group management, so you can have different groups of social networks to publish your content out. You can also share it with team members, so you're doing all this from your mobile device. And you can also curate some content. Right now they work with YouTube and Flickr, but that's the first tool I have for everybody today. And I realize you have choices when you choose social media management tools. A lot of people use Buffer, a lot use Hootsuite, but Everypost, it's also another good tool to check out. It's got 4.5 stars, and pretty good little tool. It's been around since 2012. It looks like, actually, so it's been around for a good little while.
Excellent. And what's our second one for tonight?
So the second one is a tool that I'm actually really excited about. I actually want to try this. This is called Levee, and what this does is, supposedly this is the only tool, the only application that will let you do country-specific targeting on Facebook Live videos. Now, all you have to do with this is pretty straightforward. You log into Levee. And here's the thing: it works with Wirecast. It works with pretty much, works with Facebook. Pretty much works with most of every Facebook Live video platform that's out there. For doing any sort of broadcasting. But you basically select your page, and then they're going to let you do some targeting. And this is actually what the targeting is going to look like. Let me pull that up for everybody. There you go. So what you're going to see is, here, if you see up in the top here, in this case, this particular content is visible to people living in Belgium, and you're targeting a specific audience with your Facebook Live video content. By the way, this is a free tool to use too, which is kind of, to me, that's pretty fascinating that they've got a free tool that all you have to do is connect with Facebook.
Is it freemium or is it entirely free?
It seems like it's entirely free, actually, because all you have, there's no pricing at all. All you're literally. Go ahead.
Awesome. No, I think that's really cool. It's really interesting. That's something worth trying out, especially if you're, just talking about one specific country, or, we're talking about weather in the United States and no other country, so, just targeting us. So I think that's something unique and really cool to test out.
Absolutely. And if I'm a business, let's just kind of talk about a couple of use cases for a business. So you gave a great example, Jen, on on the weather. You could target the weather specifically with this app. Users in a specific area. If I'm a business, maybe I'm putting on an event and I'm only in a certain location. I could use this to broadcast my Facebook Live videos to people, almost like I'm geofencing my event.
Yeah.
I could run this tool for that. Nick, do you have any ideas for this?
I don't have any ideas for this, Christian. I think I need to spend some more time on it. But we've got Kelly Kavanaugh in the comments saying she likes it and she's trying it.
Very awesome. This is good to hear. I like hearing all the feedback from everybody too. If you've tried this, let us know what you think about it. That again, that helps spread the word about a really good tool that people might not know about.
Yeah, Kelly, I'd be interested to see your results from it. Before and after. I think that's cool. That's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. And thank you, Nicola Bood, for joining us. We've had some great folks joining us here tonight, and we appreciate it. What do we have as a wrap up here, Christian? Do you have any announcements, Jennifer, that you wanted to share before we wrap up for the evening? Is there anything exciting going on at the Weather Channel that you wanted to plug? Anything like that?
Well, there's always exciting stuff happening at the Weather Channel. I'm just going to say that.
Okay.
But no, there's a lot of active weather going on. We're, in kind of the peak of the spring severe weather season. So we've got a lot of great coverage on our air and on our social channels as well, especially tonight, a lot of bad storms. So hopefully people are being safe. I'm going to say heed your warnings, your tornado warnings. But with social, I always say, this would be, I guess, a tip I have, is try stuff out. I think it's easy for people and companies to, sit back and just be like, oh, I don't know. If you wait for something to be perfect, you're never going to do it. nothing's ever perfect, and a lot of times I'll test stuff out on my personal accounts first, and then transition it to the business, to the Weather Channel or wherever. But I would just say be aggressive, and as soon as a new feature comes out, try it, test it, and play with it, because if you don't, a competitor, someone else will, and they'll get better at it than you, and you don't want that to happen. So I just want to say, just test it out and have fun. So
that's really great advice.
Yeah,
really great advice. And Christian, and where can people find you, Jennifer? Where would, if somebody was interested in chatting more with you about your experiences, where would they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on Twitter. I love Twitter. I love Twitter a lot. I am at jwatson_WX, which is kind of a little tricky, but if you Google Jennifer Watson or meteorologist Jennifer Watson on Twitter, you'll probably find that. You can find me on Facebook, which is just Jennifer Watson 503. That's my unique URL, because apparently there's a bunch of Jennifer Watsons around. And that's a true fact. I'm Jennifer Storm 9 on Snapchat. And Jennifer Weather on Instagram. But if you ever have a question about anything, you can always email me at jenniferwatsonwx@gmail.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Christian, you want to wrap us up for the evening?
Absolutely, definitely. And by the way, Jennifer, I really like that the Jennifer Storm. I think that which social media channel was that?
That was Snapchat, actually.
Snapchat. That's actually. I mean, that's really creative. I mean, I like that.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. I try. I always keep it weather related because I just love the weather. So.
but it's good because I mean, it's all about you use it to build your personal brand. I mean.
Yeah.
How long have you?
And you love and you love what you do. It sounds like, Jennifer, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I do. It's funny. You should see everyone at the Weather Channel is a huge weather geek, and so we all I've got a personalized license plate on my car. So does my husband. We all if you drove through the Weather Channel parking lot, you'd be like, oh my gosh, it's just we're really big geeks, and it's fun because we like what we do. So it's cool.
And that's great though that you love what you do, because that really then shines through in just how you present the information. Just your breadth of knowledge on things. Tonight you shared some really great examples. I mean, and some of them tied into the weather, some of them didn't. I mean, but it's great. It's great to see you really go in depth on that topic.
Yeah, I just love it. I think it's fun. I love social media in general, and then just with the weather, it's a dream to work actually for the Weather Channel, for me anyway. So it's just fun living a dream every day and working with the people I work with. So it's great.
It sounds like you met your husband at the Weather Channel too.
Well, no, so we both kind of work, he's technically an IBM employee, but he works on the digital side of things.
All right.
But he's also a meteorologist, too. I kind of had to marry a meteorologist.
Right.
I like weather, so, yeah.
Very cool. Very
but
cool.
We're both here.
That's cool. Christian, you want to take us out?
Definitely. So just a quick heads up for everybody. If you want to watch next week's show, it's going to be on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just go to facebook.com/socialchefs, and we'll have a post up for that where you can click on the Get Reminder option, and that's going to notify you when the show goes live. And then just a couple of other slides for you. So for those of you who want to get notified about our blog post recap that's going to go out tomorrow, that's going to have all the topics we talked about tonight, along with a link to the video. Simply head to socialchefs.com/subscribe. And lastly, if you want to connect with us on our social channels, we're at Social Chefs on every single channel. So we've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. Let's see, I think I covered all of them, right? Yeah. So with that, I want to thank Jennifer for being a guest on tonight's show. We really enjoyed having you, and learning about what you do and how social is really playing a key role for you.
Yeah, no, I loved being on, and I love talking about, different things. We test out different things just because of what we do, especially Facebook Live. We're very aggressive with that. So, if you guys ever have a specific show dedicated to that, I would love to be on it too. share some of our knowledge, what we've learned, and all that kind of stuff. So, but social's fun. It's supposed to be fun. So
supposed to be fun. Supposed to be social.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that, I want to thank everyone for watching, whether you're watching us live, watching the replay, watching the blog post, or watching through the blog post. Again, it's about having, viewers like you on each night. I mean, that's why we do what we do. So with that, have a great rest of the week, and we will see you next week. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.